Space, the final frontier. Space Station Ashland sits on the edge of Federation space with its companion ship, the U.S.S. Dilamus Christian. The space around them is full of mystery and strange wonders, where secrets are kept and danger lurks around every corner. The crew of the Dilamus Christian must navigate treacherous waters as they work to protect the Federation. But as they peer into the unknown, they will discover that the line between friend and foe is not always clear. They will be tested like never before and will face challenges that will push them to their limits. Join us on this adventure as we explore the farthest reaches of space and uncover the hidden truths that lie within the shadows. Tabletop Journeys presents Star Trek: Preservations. Welcome, everybody, to this month's Preservations episode. Very excited to be sitting opposite the microphone for episode 7 of season 3. So let's go around the room and just introduce everybody as usual. Captain?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Harney. I am playing Captain Sabian Tobor, the Joint Trail Commanding Officer of the U.S.S. Dilamus Christian, a Saber-class Federation starship.
Hi, I'm Adam Scaramella, and I portray Commander Ocean Chisolra, the Dilamus Christian's Andorian First Officer.
Yes, I'm David Rideout. I play Lieutenant Commander Vidian Tanari, the ship's Andorian Engineering Officer. And for all the worlds we've blown up over the past few seasons, by Grathbar's hammer and by the Sons of Warvan, you shall be avenged. And I shoot the captain.
Please don't shoot the captain. Please don't shoot the captain.
Yikes. Hi, my name is Lacey Knudsen. I'm playing Lieutenant Narilla Nealon, and I am the science officer on the Dilamus Christian.
Fantabulous. Last week, Narilla's quick trek ended with a massive information drop regarding Species Epsilon, and that is where we find ourselves this month. The ship in transit from point A to point B from Ashland Station with our assembled crew in the conference room. For you, Captain Tobor, from the point that you picked Narilla up from Space Station Ashland, how long would you linger before speeding off to wherever it is that you need to be going?
Pretty much just long enough to tell the fleet captain what's going on and not to let our enemies get any idea that we're coming. So
fantastic.
Almost immediately.
All right, so then let's say 2 days after. So that would bring our star date to 59683.56. 2 days at station, refuel, retrofit, whole 9 yards on the ship, and then you are off. So that brings us then to the conference room en route from Space Station Ashland to the location that Narilla correctly has surmised, the location of what is the last of the Species Epsilon ships that you have been tracking now for 2.5 seasons. Let's hand it over to you guys. How does this conference go?
I am essentially, at this point, I'm pretty sure Lieutenant Nealon standing in front of the main wall panel screen showing the math and where the ship is, and like essentially briefing us on where we're going, what can we expect, and all those details.
Yeah. Narilla, how much do you know about what you can expect and where the ship is?
So I know that it's trackable by the sensors that we have.
Correct.
And was able to discern like the trail from where we started. But the sooner that we go, the better.
Mm-hmm.
But it is shedding like particle debris from that space, which I don't know how long that will like stick to the ship.
Yeah, exactly. So you had, between a combination of the sensor changes that you guys had made and some clever tracking and some clever use of other information that you had pieced together, you had found out that this thing is basically dimension hopping. right? Probably related on some level to, if you remember back to season 1, the large galactic creature that got caught in that sort of subspace drain, that there was some relation there. There's been relation to all of these things that you guys have been tracking, and eventually the extended task completed successfully to the point that you are able to find its signature as it does its dimension hopping. Any questions about the briefing then as you have laid out, or any other information that you would like to try to discern from what you're looking at?
Sir, do you want me to try to see if we can squeeze any extra speed out of the warp drive so we can get there faster?
I think I would be more interested in having you continuously fine-tuning our new Epsilon protocol scanners. Lieutenant Neuron, what have you been able to discern about the dimensional hopping itself? Where are they going?
Josh, what would I know about that?
Why don't you make a challenge and see what you can discern from all that?
Okay.
I'm not sure that was necessarily answered in the information that Luinika provided you last time around, so let's see what you've been able to squeeze out about that.
All right. So, can I do a science insight check?
Science Insight, I think, would be logical on this. Sure. There'd be like a difficulty 2 challenge. This is not super difficult, but it does require some kind of tweakiness, so.
Can I use the ship to kind of...
Yeah, I would say that the ship would certainly be available here as an assist, especially with the information that DC itself has kind of gathered and processed through, understand some things. Yep.
All right, I've used the ship in that last session to get some information, so hopefully...
Yep. Down
All
with
right.
that.
And 2 successes. I got a 5 and a 7.
2 successes. Fantastic. So no additional momentum gained from this, but at least answering of the question. The best that you can tell is that species Epsilon is not actually of this dimension, that it is probably from a different dimension. What its kind of motivation from hopping from its home dimension into this one, not really sure on what its motivation is, although given kind of the run-ins that you have had with species Epsilon previously, I think that there would be a variety of theories that you guys could surmise about why it would be doing such things. But that's important to know that it is not from here and going someplace else. It is from someplace else coming here.
Actually, Mr. Tarari, can you take a look at the data and see if there's any way you can modify our deflector dish to be able to emit some sort of beam that would anchor their vessel into our dimension and keep it from hopping?
We can certainly try. I would probably need help from the science department to get the theoretical basis for it, but it's certainly worth a shot.
Why don't you go ahead and get started on that? Commander Chizilver, how was your trip home? As eventful as we thought it was going to be?
And then some. As I mentioned to you, I've recovered both the registries and the flight logs for the various ships that the Ebony Knox was building there. I've also been made aware of an Aegis team that dealt with one of these ships. They were talking about a black hole or something that ships were trying to come through. Be
Could
curious.
this be our quantum singularity that the entity was stuck in?
Not the same one, but
Yeah. Similar, yeah. So aside, Lee Winika was telling me about this in his typical mile-a-minute fashion while we were at a con. So I only got pieces of this, but he basically explained to me that the Aegis team had been forced to make a decision whether or not to deal with the immediate issue here or to chase the Ebony Knox ship, and they chose to close the portal. Do we have any information on what that portal was?
The information that they were able to gather when they took the scientific scans of the portal was that the signatures between what was happening with Navinad, what was happening here, that they are all within spectrum of one another. So there may be slight variations on the specifics of the signatures, but that could probably be related to either they're going to or from a different place sort of thing. But that it's very much kind of like it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck kind of situation. Even if the signatures have been slightly different, they're within proper modulation ranges to be effectively the same.
And have we been able to map on the registry movement of these ships, and are they anywhere in alignment with the Epsilon creatures?
So the ship that you're chasing now is the last of the known Epsilon ships. The Aegis team and the Michael Collins both have had run-ins with other Epsilon ships and taken them out. This is the last known ship that has been kind of discovered, and there's been a significant quiet inactivity.
So this isn't one of the 3 ships that attacked Aslan Station, is it?
No, it is not. Okay, I see the question. You're talking at the end of last season. No, this is not one of those. This is the actual Species Epsilon ship itself. None of the ships which Species Epsilon has commandeered. This is the actual species ship.
Oh.
I see.
Very much determined to be sort of the source of all the pain and woe.
Do we have access to any descriptions, schematics, readouts of the ships that were destroyed?
That would be available. So what information specifically would you be looking for on such?
Ocean would be examining it to think about the best tactical assault on it, if it came to that. What systems it has, what defenses, what offense, were there any, I don't want to say weak spots, but what were they relying on for propulsion, those kind of things.
The ships that were attacking the space station were co-opted ships from other species. So you can certainly go ahead and see their capabilities, and there were probably some sort of like variations on their standard weapon complement. You know that the species basically thrives in subspace type fields and uses subspace to effectiveness. You could certainly see on those schematics that their normal disruptors were probably modulated in such a way to be more effective and to target more subspace related attack patterns. You can definitely get that from the ships themselves that were attacking, but this was not involved in that attack. So you guys are certainly traveling blind a little bit towards this. You don't have an awful lot of intelligence on it other than its origins.
So just for the sake of clarity and my own sanity, we're talking about the ships that were co-opted.
Yep.
And then we're talking about a bug ship.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to call it until we have a better name for it. But it's actually the ships, they're coming from the other place in.
And then there's a third group of ships, which are the Ebony Nox ones that you tracked down.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have all the schematics on those. So I would probably want to take a look through them to determine whether or not they had any unusual configurations, any unusual weapons. I know I made the crack about prohibited weapons. What's the weapon type is outlawed? I forget it.
Isolinear?
It's a different one, but there's
photonic weapon.
There's types of weaponry in the universe that are just outright banned. So.
Yes, anything subspace-based weaponry, especially isolinear weapons.
Yep.
Isolytic,
not isolinear. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd be looking through that kind of stuff to figure out.
That one I'll let you roll for. It's only going to be like a difficulty 1 check to go ahead and try to understand the schematics of what you're pulling from the Ebony Nox ships and compare them versus what you're seeing on the ships that attacked Aslan Station. Yeah, I'll let you roll for that.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see.
It's not a difficult check, but it's,
no,
it's better than nothing.
Fine. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I have a focus that I can bring into play on this. Wouldn't be under security system. It might be under targeting systems because I'm thinking about weaponry. It could be also under my pastime of obscure starships. But no, I don't think I have a good focus for this one. So it's a difficulty 1, so this would be, let's see, probably engineering. Yes. And it would be probably reason.
I like engineering reason. Yep.
Yeah, not a great role for me, but hey. You know what? I'll spend a threat to get an extra die.
I like that. I like the way you're thinking.
Let's see. I don't have a applicable focus, so this is just 2 successes.
Okay, fabulous. So you at least gain a momentum out of it. That's good.
Yep, and I get an additional momentum from Intense.
I like it.
Yep, which I have to spend. So that gives us 2. Well, let's get the information first.
Absolutely, yeah. So the information that you're able to glean from comparing the schematics on the Ebony Nox ships and the schematics of the ships that attacked Aslan Station, the ships that attacked Aslan Station seemed to be modified to accommodate this kind of weaponry, to allow the weaponry that was on board to do different things. there is a subtle difference in the weaponry that you're seeing on Ebony Nox, where, for lack of a better phrase, it's almost like they had some of this weaponry that was black market, right? So it's like they weren't making the modifications. They didn't have somebody on board coming in and tweaking it. It was more like they bought a black box that does the thing and they plugged the black box into the ship. So you kind of get the feeling that like it's different. They didn't have the scientists, they had the salespeople.
Okay. That's disturbing, but okay. Sounds good. All right. And we have 2 momentum from that.
Correct. Yep. And you said you have to spend 1 immediately?
Yeah, I have to spend 1 immediately. I'm just trying to think if we want to spend the 2 of them and create a trait which will help us deal with that type of weapon. The information about the fact that they're jury rigging it in. Would it make sense, Joe, to have something that would provide additional benefits when targeting those types of weapon systems?
Yeah, wouldn't hurt.
Okay. Call it aftermarket purchases. You get what you pay for.
I like it. I like it. All right. Anything further that you wanted to go ahead and bring up in the meeting before we let Mr. Tanari and Miss Narila start working on the modifications for the containment beam?
Only that I will let Commander Chizilber know that while I was negotiating that treaty on Valkyria with Governor Nicera, I nearly ran into our old friend Janok. Was there with his contact from the Corps of Engineers trying to set them up with a contract for Sunian androids. But he saw I was here. I think he caught a glimpse of the Tank Abbott in the starport and decided to very hastily catch a flight out of Dodge.
GTFO, exactly. Yeah.
He left a little surprise for us at the space station outside of Soltak 4. Apparently, he has a code that he's created that could be in multiple systems. Anytime the DC or one of the command staff is announced, it flags us. It's not sending any information, it's only recording. I left a little surprise for them that it will actually record the recorder. He tries to collect it.
Who records the recorder?
Yeah, his replacement was most helpful in trying to figure it out because it caught him by surprise as much as it did me. I'm curious as to whether or not it only caught me because I decided to see if my arrival would trigger any flags, even though I had borrowed one of the Damon's ships to get there. But the other piece that you mentioned, the Sunian androids, there was a message on my father's system basically offering them a Sunian android. They apparently seemed like an unremarkable offer, something that might be normally given to elderly or individuals who are ill. But just the frequency of these, the fact that Janok was peddling them seems to be possibly a cause for concern.
I agree. Let's take the opportunity to investigate that a little further. There seems to be too many coincidences happening all at once. And if we get an opportunity to take out whoever it is, giving them access to Starfleet intelligence and Starfleet equipment, I want to be able to find that and present it to the appropriate authorities with an airtight seal that we can use to remove them as a threat.
I like it.
Sir, I have another question. Are you aware of the DC getting orders to be sent in for a refit?
Refit? Josh, no? Yay, nay?
That's
News to me, Lieutenant.
news to me also.
I got a word. My brother is working at the Andorian shipyards, and he said he had gotten orders that the DC was to be sent there for refit.
The DC is scheduled for refit at the Andorian shipyards. Okay, out of game, this is a way for us to go ahead and allow you to swap out talents that may or may not be used on the DC for stuff from the new tech manual and the Explorer's Guide once it comes out. In game, it is not unusual that the ship would be scheduled for refit. As far as why Tobor has not been announced yet, it's entirely possible, Tanari, that your brother was looking ahead on the schedule and the paperwork just hadn't shuffled into Tobor.
Mhm.
He maybe jumped the gun in telling you that your ship was coming in for refit. The fact that it would be scheduled for refit is not cause for alarm itself, Tobor. And I think we can probably hand wave it as the paperwork just hadn't crossed your desk, that it's still significantly far out from where we are. 2384 is when it's scheduled. So it's like 18 months from now. It's not like tomorrow.
To be fair, we're usually the last ones to learn about these things.
Exactly.
Okay. And what are the
Appreciate
chances Lee Winika has anything sinister planned?
The notes actually specifically very much say basically setting up a narrative reason for new stuff for the DC, swap out
Okay.
talents that they don't want to use in favor of some new shiny from the tech manual and Explorer's Guide. So he literally says that. If he has plans beyond that, they are so sinister that they're being hidden from me. Which
Yeah, it seems suspicious to me.
yeah,
Oh, he wrote it down in his notes.
Yeah. And I also think too, there is one thing that I am not telling you about that, but that I think will become more clear at the end of the episode tonight. And that's not auspicious at all. No sign of concern on that whatsoever. Anything else further in the conference room, Captain Tobor?
Unless anyone has anything else, I'll let Tanari and Nilan get on trying to devise some way to prevent them from dimension hopping.
Yeah, I would say that this will be a scene change, so you will lose the momentum that you currently have unless you want to use it. But if there's nothing you can think
Unfortunately,
of to use it.
I don't think there's much more at this stage.
Fair enough. Alrighty then, Tanari Nilan, talk to me about how you are approaching the problem as it has been given to you. Tell me what you got.
Okay. Do we have any clue as to how they're dimension hopping? I mean, when Narillo figured out how to track it?
Narilo, given the question that Tanari is asking, if you want to go ahead and make another 2 difficulty challenge to go ahead and see if you can discern that information, I am happy to open that up to the floor. So are you thinking like inside science again? Inside engineering? Like, what are you thinking?
I think to discern that information, we should do insight. Oh, I don't know. I think both science and engineering fit. Yeah.
I'd say probably more science than engineering, because again, you're kind of like reading scientific readouts about it's tangentially engineering, but I would say science probably more than engineering. Would you like an assist from the ship again?
Yes.
If I'm going to offer it, you might as well take it, right? Tanari, would you roll for the ship, please?
Certainly.
I need more threat, so.
What's my target number of the ship? Well, I'll let her roll first.
Okay, I got a 1 success.
1 success, okay.
Probably computer science.
Okay, so what's my target number?
It is
Computers 10, 9, science 2,
is
11.
I thought science was 3.
3.
I have computer science as 12, not 11.
Okay.
So
I got a 6.
fantastic. There you go. Okay, so you got your second success. Fabulous. And so the question is how they're doing this dimension hopping and everything like that. Let me, rather than kind of like dive into some like pseudo-scientific technobabble explanation on it, let us just go ahead and cut to the chase that says that you're able to figure out how it does it. It is an intrinsic quality of the species and the ship that they travel in. It is a thing that they can do. They have the trait ability to jump between dimensions, basically, at the end of the day. It is inherent technological biology that comes with being who they are. A super unsatisfying answer, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, rather than trying to go ahead and make something up that explains it, it is just the nature of who they are. So they are multidimensional in their nature.
Okay. Since then, we've got kind of a theoretical underpinning behind that. Let's go a little into the technobabble. We
Mhm.
already know that they have kind of a subspace anomaly about them, which
Correct.
was the reason we had trouble tracking them in the beginning. So go back to some of those subspace papers we got all the way back in episode 1.
I like it.
Work through them and see if we can work on maybe like subspace dampener to dampen down on their extra dimensional abilities.
I like this an awful lot. Let me pull up the list of papers that were in there and see.
Since we already have like our subspace shields and our subspace sensor.
Oh, I think I can see a couple of things here. What sort of technology on the Dilamus Christian are you looking to co-opt for this purpose?
I like what the captain said about using the main deflector dish, because that can project more power than anything else.
Yep.
And special effects wise, it's always kind of neat to see the main deflector dish shoot a big beam of energy.
Shoot a big beam of energy, exactly, yeah. So there are two sort of papers that would probably inform what you were going on, two presentations. The first one was from Ambassador Kateb from the Klingon Empire, applications of subspace distortion fields and weapons technology. While the deflector dish is not weapons technology, you are talking about using the deflector dish to shoot a beam, which means that there may be some applications, some formulas and things like that in there that would be useful. The other one that would be useful, at least in terms of how to pull enough energy to do such a thing, also, because that's part of your concern here, is the paper from Dr. Taprea, the Vulcan. Her presentation was theoretical applications of subspace folding on warp propulsion systems. So you also think that that might be a way to use the deflector dish to keep them where they are. Is that basically you may not be able to go ahead and disrupt the nature of what they are. However, if you can disrupt the nature of how they travel, then that might be an application to keep them from going where you don't want them to go. Does that make sense?
Okay. So we dig into those papers, try to figure out between those and the experiences we have had, adapting like our subspace shielding, the subspace sensors, try to see if we can develop something to hopefully freeze them in place.
Yeah. I think at this point it would be appropriate to go ahead and call for the roll to start seeing if you can make the modifications. This feels to me like a difficulty 3 challenge. You're taking a bunch of various technologies and various theoretical applications and kind of mashing them together in one big practical soup. I also think that the implications of your success or failure on this are fairly broad. So I'm going to give it a complication range of 3 also. So difficulty 3, complication range of 3.
Okay.
Certainly the ship and the science department would be able to assist on this.
Kind of project that gives my number 2 Duncan nightmares.
Yes, yeah. It's the kind of thing that makes him go to the holodeck and punch a holographic punching bag after it's done. A little Tanari-shaped punching bag.
Is this going to be reason engineering, or are we at enough of a crunch for time that we're going to have to pull into daring engineering?
You know what? I, Josh, have a soft spot for Tanari going daring engineering. And let's be honest here, you are en route from the space station, from the relative safety of Aslan Station to this unknown vessel that you have been tracking for 2.5 seasons. I am totally fine with daring engineering here.
Okay.
I think daring engineering makes a brilliant amount of sense.
And you said one of the papers had to deal with warp fields, right?
Correct. It was Dr. Taprea's paper that had to deal with theoretical applications of subspace folding in warp propulsion systems.
So, can I use my warp field dynamics focus?
I'll allow it. Sure.
Okay. And you said it's difficulty 3.
And a complication range of 3.
And I have the ship and Narilla both assisting me.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to spend a threat to get an extra dice.
I like it. Keep on giving me that threat.
And then with procedural compliance, I get to take one of those dice and put that aside as a success.
I like it. Okay. Is it a 1 or is it a success?
It's just a success.
Just a success. Okay. So you bought a threat, so you got 3 dice. One of those 3 is now a success.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.
So I roll 2 dice. All right. I have a 3 and a 19, but because I spent a threat, I get to re-roll the 19.
I like it. It sounds like a good idea.
All right, that is a 3 and a 7.
Okay. So the
The
3 sounds
three-
like a crit.
The 3 is a crit.
Okay. So that's
So
up to 4
that's-
successes. Yep.
4 successes so far.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and track the momentum that you have earned already. Do you still wish for the assistance of science and the ship?
Very much so.
Okay. I like it. Narila, how does science believe they can assist on this?
I would say I would propose insight science, but also reason science I think could be useful. And we do have some data from my venture into the space. So
yeah, I think I like reason science just because it is a little bit more practical application than merely just trying to go ahead and figure out what's going on.
A success.
Okay, fantastic. So one more
That's
momentum,
7.
and then Captain, would you please roll for the ship?
Yeah, and so for the ship, I'm actually thinking engine security, because we're going to channel all of this power through the deflector dish in a way to disrupt their ability to jump dimensions.
I do like the way that you are justifying using the second highest possible roll for the ship. Your hubris is noted.
And I could have probably thought of something with sensors.
Right, exactly, yeah.
This is why he's the captain.
Exactly.
Yep. And I got a 5, which is not a crit, but it is a success.
Yes. Okay, well, so that's still great. You still got 6 successes in total, gained 3 momentum, and have what you believe to be a working model for how to basically use your deflector dish with kind of warp technology, matching the signatures and everything that you have established to keep that ship from leaving the dimension that you're currently on. That's a pretty significant upgrade, Tanari. Well done.
So to get super pseudo-sciencey nerdy, what we're going to be doing is creating an inverse warp bubble around them that keeps them trapped in this universe.
Yep. I love it. I think that sounds fantastic. All right. So, Tanari, I'm assuming that you report success to Captain Tobor. I'm assuming you are pleased with said success.
I double check all of his numbers.
Yeah, he seems to have carried all of the ones, and all of the limits extend into infinity, so everything seems fine with his numbers.
It's part of the reason Narilla assists is she's checking the math.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Making sure that all the I's are dotted and the J's are crossed and all that stuff. Yeah. So.
On the other hand, some of the equipment in this engineering room looks like wires and conduits everywhere. And
oh, totally. Yeah. You've got bulkheads open. It's kind of like in Periscope Down, where you've got the communications officer, where he's like licking 2 fingers and like holding on to the terminals. You know, it's like, it's like I can see that totally. Yeah.
23rd century redneck engineering.
Yes, and Duncan is just quietly sobbing.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much like
because I have to put this all back together again.
Commander, that's not what the ship was built for. Why are you doing that to my deflector dish? Oh, jeez. Oh, man. All right. Fabulous. Well, the ship continues to go ahead and speed along. Captain Tobor, anything further then before we leave this scene and get to the next one?
Dave, did you spend a threat to do that?
He did indeed.
Yes.
Do you want your bonus momentum from intense and probably take the bonus momentum plus 1 additional momentum and create a trait?
Yeah. What do you think we should put it out on the floor? What do you think we should do other than the trait make Duncan cry?
So the goal is basically to hold them in place.
Yeah, I think it's a subspace dimensional anchor.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I did with the other one, I just wrote it and I put it in the Facebook chat. That is going to reduce the difficulty of any particular targeting check by 1. I'm guessing that whatever we're going to try to do to hold it in place is going to be resisted of some sort. I don't know mechanically wise if that's a resistance or if that's the difficulty of it, but knocking that down by 1 as well might be an idea.
How about then just the trait you ain't going anywhere?
Yeah, basically, if they want to try to make their dimensional jump, that there's an increased difficulty cost to go ahead and make that happen, to go ahead and buy off the trait. That all makes sense to me. Okay. All right, so then that's the bonus momentum. That's the momentum that you spend in addition, which leaves you with 2 momentum. Anything further then?
What system are we going into? Do we know that?
The system that you're going to is... Hold on 1 second. You know what? I did not actually make a note of what system it is.
We do know where we're going.
You know where you're going, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not like in Romulan space or something. Like that's
It
you
can,
know,
it can be an unnamed system.
it's an unnamed system in the middle of nowhere.
The reason why I ask is we're going to try to sneak up on this thing. So I would like to use my contact specialist talent. Once per adventure, I can create a trait without requiring a task or spending any momentum, threat, or determination. It must reflect information, physical resources, or access to a location provided by my various contacts. So this is going to be called I Know a Guy.
Okay.
And basically what I'm going to be using it to is to contact somebody who happens to be out in that system and make sure that when we're warping in, that they are also in the system and they do something loud shortly beforehand.
I like it. And basically the gist would be for them to distract whatever it is that you're looking for in order to
we want the mechanics don't really play out to an advantage on who goes first.
But you're trying to buy a trait that your target is distracted. Yeah. I'm going to spend 2 threat to buy that trait off immediately. So I appreciate you doing that. And basically the answer that you get from them is, sure, yeah, no problem, boss. And then 15 minutes, they say, no effing way. So that's
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I like it.
So I think the only other thing I would want to do is I'd want to work with Arvik on a flight path where we come in essentially behind the sun of the star system, and then we kind of we come in under impulse around the star and try and hide our presence as long as we can. Kind of similar to what we did when we had to go and rescue the Makos.
Yep. Okay. I like it. You know what? I'm going to ask for them to make a piloting roll, just because that's not a difficult maneuver. It's going to be like a 1 difficulty challenge, just to go ahead and make sure that they can get the angles. This is a star they've never gone to before. Could be weird gravitational fields. So I would like a 1 difficulty challenge made by them to go ahead and see if they can basically get the math and the piloting right.
Perfect. And so with Arvik being our primary flight controller, secondary NPC, this feels like his control con at 14 special.
This is his thing. Yeah, you're asking him to do the thing that he is best at. Yeah. Yep, I'm down with that. Yeah.
I'm going to have him spend a momentum for a 3rd die.
I like it.
And then I'll be assisting him.
I like it. So rather than having you do both rolls, then let's have somebody else roll for the pilot, and then you can roll the assistance. Yep. Yeah. Adam, would you roll, please, for the pilot?
What's his number?
14. And it's a difficulty 1.
Just 1. Wait.
Oh, no, he gets to roll 2 dice. You're rolling for the pilot, so it's...
Oh, I'm rolling for the pilot. Okay.
Yeah. He gets to roll 2 dice.
2 dice, and he's got a focus and helm operation, so if you roll a 4 or less, it's a crit.
And did you say you spent a momentum for an extra die for him?
Yes, 3 dice.
That's right. Yep, 3 dice, yep.
So that is 2 successes and a complication.
I like it. Fantastic. Okay.
But I'm gonna assist with my advisor talent.
Yep.
So I get a 3, so I critically succeed. And with advisor, when I succeed on an assistance, I allow them to re-roll a die.
14, which is
a success.
Okay, so that's a total of 3 successes for the pilot, plus 2 for Tobor. So that will fill up your momentum pool. Well done. Probably not a bad thing to have, but we're going to end the scene there, so you're going to get knocked down to 1 anyway.
Before that, what I'm going to do is I think we're going to spend 4 momentum to create the potency. We'll add on to this and add an additional 2 potency to the trait of stealth approach.
Yep, exactly. So you really don't want to be seen. I can see that, like, the cinematic of it. The DC cuts through the corona. There's a mass ejection behind it, then just riding in the gravitational wave. As you do that, so this is a voided star system. There are no planets in it. It's uninhabited. So the darkness of space as you float around the sun greets you, this kind of perilous dark. And just shining From the big blue sun, you see the glisten of the sunlight on this ship, which is larger than the DC. It's a scale 5 ship. It has this plated exterior overlapping hull plates, and it's largely circular. It has outcroppings around the exterior circle, otherwise fairly flat. And as you come around, it's sitting there face on. It's like you're looking at a pinwheel almost. And you can see again like the blue light of the sun glistening off of 3, 4, 5 somewhat inner circles that make up the ship.